So here we are going into day 3 of the Bassmaster Classic, the second one right here in Tulsa, and I'm 6 pounds back. Like, really, everybody had wrote me out of the event. You know, the riders, everybody but my family, you know, and really, honestly, probably should have, you know, being that far back going into the final day of the event. And, you know, Jason Christie, the guy that's been leading it, blowing it out, you can't think that he's going to stumble going into the final day. And I made up the ground. So I am going to tell you guys about that story and a lot more stories like this going forward. We're going to incorporate just my backstory to certain events in my career through this YouTube channel and just include you guys in on those stories. So back to the Classic, day 3. I'm going to back up a little bit and just tell you about my first day. And then really, I never even should have had a chance to win if you've seen what happened to me on my second day. So, you know, the first day I caught, I want to say 13 pounds, if my memory serves me correct, in 4 fish. 4. The limit's 5. Not very many classics have ever been won with a guy not catching a limit all 3 days. I'm in, I don't know, I'm down in the pack with that 13 pounds. 20 pounds was leading it, so I'm 7 pounds back after the first day. And, you know, really, really disappointed. And what had happened at Grand that year is the first week of March, we had a ton of rain, a ton of water. The lake was muddy, like the whole lake, all the way down at the dam where it's always clean and clear, was muddy, and it was cold. Even the lower portion of the lake was probably the coldest. The upper to mid portion of the lake was a little warmer, and you know, just really, really bad conditions for Grand, really tough fishing conditions. But nonetheless, Jason had them figured out. He was catching, like, he had 20 pounds the first day and made it look really, really easy, and I was struggling. You know, he had figured out a spinnerbait bite. I was trying to catch him on a crankbait, and like I said, I only caught 4. I lost 2 keepers that day. One of them I will never forget because I saw it. I had it right up here to the boat, and it was the final hour of the minute, and how much pressure you have on yourself in those classics. I do, especially being the second one in Tulsa. I mean, it crushed me not landing that 5th keeper because I knew how important it was. It would have taken me to 15, 16, 17 pounds. And I would have been able to hold my head high coming into that arena at that day, just having a limit, knowing I was in contention, but I didn't. So we fast forward to the second day. I really prayed long and hard and thought about where the most potential was. And I had to get out of my head what I knew about the lake. I had to get out of my head that I can only win in this section of the lake, or it can only happen in this section of the lake. And so I did a complete, like about 8:30, 9 o'clock, 180-degree turn. I went and I hit a few of those spots where I caught those fish the day before, but again, it was a dead slick, calm day, bright bluebird sun, you know, no wind at all the first 2 days of the Classic, and cold and just calm. And I made the decision to run up the river. And generally speaking, you don't win up the river. And you haven't won up the river in years. And when I say up the river, I'm talking up the big river, the Neosho, you know, the spring, up that direction. And I just start fishing cover and structure up there, thinking that, you know, I didn't have to catch 20, 22, 25 pounds like what I've been trying to fish for the day before. That is one of the biggest mistakes that I make so much in my tournament career over and over and over and over again. And we'll talk about them all in this backstory video series, thinking I have to have more than I really have to have. And, you know, and in the past, you know, you see these team tournaments on Grand that, you know, they'd have 22, 25 pounds and be 5th place, 6th place when, you know, so I'm sitting here thinking, you know, I've got to have 27, 28 to win or whatever it may be, a monster bag to win. And that night, you know, I said, man, I'm just going to go catch what I can catch, what I feel comfortable to catch, what I have the most confidence in. I caught 17 pounds up that river, and it was the biggest stringer of day 2. You know, Jason had 16, you know, everybody else was below that. Jason had the second biggest stringer, basically. So that was a pretty big accomplishment, having the biggest stringer of day 2. And it wasn't the 22, the 25, those big stringers that I thought I had to have, and it gave me a lot of confidence, yet I'm still, 6 pounds behind the leader going into that final day. But a lot of people don't know, that second day, I'm running out of this backwater, and I bent my prop shaft bad. Like, my motor is going, and I could only run like 50 miles an hour, and it took hundreds of yards to get it on plane. Like, I had it mashed down, it's a foot throttle, hot foot. Had to get my camera guy up on the front deck, and I didn't think I was ever gonna get on plane. Like, I'm turning the wheel side to side, and that motor's just vibrating so bad back there. And I had just like that much, I knew I have this many miles, and that's exactly how many minutes I had to get back. And I finally got it on plane. I'm calling the service crew. At the time, Michael White, and Happy, the guys that help us and travel with us across the country. As I'm running, 52, boat normally runs 65 to 70 miles an hour, 52 miles an hour, I'm calling him, man, my motor's vibrating. I do not think there's any chance I'm gonna make it back to the weigh-in. I'm 15 miles away and I've got 17 minutes to get there. Can you get a boat headed this direction? And I'm doing this the whole time, and my motor's just, and I run it all the way back, and we make it. And make it back by that much time, by the skin of my teeth. That's the second day. So you think back to winning the Classic, to winning the biggest event, at that time of my career, I almost didn't make it back. When I think about how bad that prop shaft was bent, how bad those ears on that prop were bent over from hitting that log running out of that backwater. And as fate would have it, I made it. I made it, got to the weigh-in, had 17 pounds. I was super excited, caught those fish that day, spinner bait and flipping and just shallow cover, but a good stringer, biggest stringer of the day. And then we fast forward to day 3. Day 3, what a magical, magical day. The weather, we had dead calm conditions, the first 2 days, sunny, just cold. And then the wind decides to blow. And when I say blow, it blows like gusts 30 to 40 miles an hour throughout the day. And, that morning it was calm, and then it started blowing. So I got asked a lot, why did I not go up there to the first day, the second day? Why did I not go there to the third day? There's a couple reasons. There's one, I was unsure of it. That place is so hit or miss. It's so fickle. 2, it's small. I mean, it's like this. It's crystal clear water. It's cleaner than my bath water. And shallow. And that first day of the Classic, you have a lot of high expectations. You've got a big gallery following you, 40, 50 boats. You can't take them in there. The first pass you have fishing through there, you can't turn around and go back through it. So and the wind wasn't blowing. It was crystal clear, calm conditions the first couple of days. When I went in there and practice, I went in there the first day of practice. We get, 3 days of practice, an off day, and then 1 official day of practice. And I don't remember which day I went in there, but I went in there really quick early in practice, and I caught like a 7-pounder. And caught another 4-pounder, but I was in there quick and out. I didn't get seen. So much of that Classic, especially on a home body of water, you don't want to be seen by, competitors. You don't want to be seen by spectators. You just get nervous about that stuff. I do. I shouldn't, but I do. And so, in the back of my mind, I didn't know how strong it truly was. And then I had all those conditions. It's small, it's clear, it's shallow. It's spectators. I had all those things that was in the back of my mind why I didn't go the first couple days, and it doesn't hold up to pressure. Like, you could not have gone back in there the 4th day and caught hardly anything. I've just, through the time of fishing the lake, it's just that way. It's just very hit or miss, very, very fickle. So I go the 3rd day. wind's blowing. It's a perfect conditions. You know, you've got that crystal clear water. When you have that wind blowing, I've got a ripple. They can't see my bait as well. They can't see me. They can't feel the presence of my boat. And I'm in there, and I purposely stopped at 2 or 3 different, bluff ends on the way up, just trying to generate a bite, knowing that the wind wasn't supposed to start blowing until about, 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I got up there like at 7:45 or 8 o'clock, and it was calm. And I pull up to the first log that I shook one off, and I didn't get a bite. And I was like, oh, dang it. So I go to the next log, and I get a bite. I was sitting there thinking, well, I came up too early. I shouldn't have come. But I get to that next log, and I get a bite. And I'm like, oh, man, I was so excited. It's like a 4-pounder, a really good one. And, man, guys, just from there on, it went perfect, like perfect. To describe the area a little bit to people that might not be familiar, maybe new people to bass fishing, it's a really clear river that flows in over this flat that is littered with logs. And it's something that you can duplicate on so many bodies of water. When a river dumps in, then all that sediment makes this flat, and you have all these logs just through the floods, it'll be across that flat. So that water's got to go up and over that flat, and you have all those logs, and it's just a great ambush point for bass. And it's a prime example. But it's a popular, it was a community spot on the lake, but it was the absolute best conditions, the best day you could have ever asked for to fish that spot. And I go on to catch 29 pounds, 3 ounces. I'm culling like 5-pounders. I'm throwing a little finesse jig on 12-pound test. It was just incredible day. I had no idea. I'm not weighing them. I'm balance beaming them. And, I think in my mind, I probably got 24, 25 pounds. As the day's going on, I don't realize it. But when I go to try to finally cull that last one, and I would literally just put my hand down in the live well, like on one side, and like you put your hand across a fish's back and it'd be like this. Well, on one side of my live well, I'd put them across their back, and their back would be like this. And I would never even pick them up. I'd like, oh. And then I go to the next one in there, and I was like, oh. And so I had 3 of them that my hand's like this across their back. And then on this side of the live well, I had like my hands like this across their back. And those are the 2 I was culling out. And like that final cull, I'm like, holy smokes, I got a lot of pounds. I thought I had like 18 to 20. And then when I really looked at them all, like touched them, like their backs, I've got like a big bag. And I don't know, guys, it was incredible. My father-in-law was there to witness the whole thing. He was following me, and it was really cool in that aspect. He drove with me back to the arena, and he asked me how much I got, and I was like, man, I don't know. You get up there and look. I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to say I got 27, 28 pounds. I just said, I think I got them. And he looked in there at one side of him, and he says, yeah, you got them. And he looked at the small side, and it was pretty neat. At the time, I still didn't know if I'd won. I still didn't know what Jason had. A few other things that was kind of not awesome about the event. I was super close to Jason, the traveling buddy, and they pulled me up in front of his girls, as we go around the arena. I didn't like being in front of his girls because I know my family, how much they wanted me to win. I know how bad his girls wanted him to win. And I wish I could have sat somewhere else because I didn't want to sit in front of them. Just because I like him and his family so much. And I wish it would have been somebody else than your buddy that you're traveling against. You don't want to beat your friend that you're traveling against. But nonetheless, it was just an awesome day, an awesome venue. Lots of people there. Never had an event with that much family, that much support in my life because it was right here in Tulsa. And it was a dream come true. It'd been a lot of years me wanting to win a classic, a lot of years of being really close, and it just didn't happen until that day. And it happened in a grand fashion, excuse the oxymoron, catching 29 pounds, 3 ounces that final day. But what an epic event, what an epic relief for me to have the weight off my shoulders to finally win a classic and to be able to put that trophy on the mantle. Really, really cool. Another really cool thing of that event, you know, my family was able to get down in the boat with me. You know, my wife, my daughter, my son. I'll never forget this how happy my daughter was. You know, my daughter doesn't like fishing at all, but the joy she had on her face for me to accomplish that lifelong goal was just, that's probably one of the greatest things of that day was her and her look, and my wife and the tears, because it was a team deal. We all sacrificed to make it to that point, and then to have my sponsors in the arena, just to give that back to them was so strong for me, so cool. I'll never forget that, and just thankful they were all there to be a part of it. You know, I consider those people families. I've been with them that long. So there it is, the backstory to the 2016 Classic. A phenomenal day for me and my family, just a huge blessing. You know, I know a lot of you guys have rowed with me. You know, a lot of people, over 20 years, I've had a lot of people in my boat. Maybe there's some stories that you think other viewers would like to hear about. You know, maybe there's a tournament finish, a tournament win that maybe would be interesting to you guys. You guys leave me a comment. Let me know some of those, and I will get them out, because we're going to do this once a month going forward, just these backstories, you know, from 20 years of bass fishing. So hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you a month from now telling another backstory.